There goes. Look at what I've been missing.
Where's the red one?
No, I pushed it.
Oh, it's gone.
Okay, good.
I pushed it already. Oh my God.
We're on 19B. Okay. So yesterday we learned 19B. We're 4 lines from the bottom. Yesterday we learned that there's a difference between shchita and malika. Shchita is done from the front of the neck, and malika, which is done only on sacrifices in the Bais Hamikdash, on the bird sacrifice in the Bais Hamikdash, is done from the back of the neck. And we were discussing, it's not from the head, the back of the head, that would be the oiref, it's only mul oiref, it's towards the back, which means beneath it. We brought some verses that prove that. We said that the whole front of the neck, including the sides, would be valid for shchita, but that's not valid for malika. Only the very back of the neck is valid for malika. We said what's kosher for shchita is pasul for malika. In other words, the area that's kosher for malika is pasul for shchita.
Malika is only in the Bais Hamikdash.
Right, only in the outside the Bais Hamikdash it would be considered nevela or treifa. We'll see later today. We'll see. Amri b'nei Reb Chia. The sons of Reb Chia said, Reb Chia had 2 sons, Yehuda and Chizkiah. I believe they went with him to study also. They went to Eretz Yisrael to Rabbi to study with him together with Rabbi. They said that mitzvahs malika machzir simanim la'achirei ha'iref u'meilek. You see the pipes of the windpipe and the food pipe are a little elastic. You can stretch them to the back of the neck, and you can do malika instead of breaking through the spine. You push them to the back, and you do malika through the pipes on the back of the neck. You push the fingernail. It's done with the fingernail. Through the 2 pipes. Ikadamri. Some say af machzeh. Doesn't mean that that's how you have to do it. It means that you can do it like that. And if you did it like that, it's also valid. The Ikad Amri. And there are some say, Machzir Dafka. No, that's how you have to do it. The Gemara says, Mistabra, it's logical, Kamanda Amar Af Machzir, that says that you're also allowed to do it like that. I mean, naturally, or the regular way of doing malika would be that you break through the fingernail breaks through the spine and then punctures the 2 pipes. But it's also kosher if you do it without breaking through the spine. Mimai. How do we know? Why is it more logical like this? Mi diktani, because it says in our Mishnah, Hasheichet min ha'orev shchitase psula. If someone shechs from the back of the neck, it's invalid. It's not kosher to shech from the back of the neck. Hamoilek min ha'orev melikase kishera. But someone that does malika from the back of the neck, it's kosher. Now v'isal kadaitach machzir dafka. If it would enter your mind to say that, how do you do malika from the back of the neck? It's required to push the pipes to the back of the neck and do malika through the pipes. We said that's how you do malika. If that's how you do malika, then if you would do shchita in that location, it would be invalid, because if malika is kosher, shchita is not kosher. My area mailik, then why specifically is it taking the case of mailik that it's kosher? Afilu sheichet nami, shchita would also be kosher. Let me just explain one point. The reason why shchita can't be done through the back of the neck, it's not because of the location. Simply it has to do with, because cutting through the spine makes it into a treifa before the shchita is done. So Rashi points out, maybe you'll ask, what about cutting making a hole in the veishet before the veishet is fully cut? You're also making it a treifa before the shchita is done? Because how do you do shchita? You have to cut through the pipes, the windpipe first, then the esophagus, and if the slightest hole in the food pipe would make it a treifa. So if we're going to say that why is malika through the back, why is shchita through the back of the neck a treifa? Because you're breaking the spine. That makes it a treifa before the shchita is done. So every shchita, while you're cutting through the neck, the first cut in the esophagus makes it a treifa. So Rashi explains that because that's the way of shchita, that's part of the shchita and it doesn't make it a treifa. But if you would do something that wasn't part of the shchita, so for example, you breaking the spine, which is not part of the shchita, so then that would become a treifa. So here we're saying like this, that we have two opinions what the sons of Rabbi said. Malika is breaking the spine and then puncturing, but you're also allowed to push the pipes to the back and do that, or it's mandatory to push the pipes to the back and cut through the pipes without breaking the spine. So there's two ways of doing that. So the Gemara says it's more logical to say that you're able to do it both ways. Why? Because if it's mandatory to push the pipes to the back for the malika, then I would be able to do shchita in the back as well. And the Mishnah says what's kosher for malika is puzzle for shchita. It's not true. What's kosher for malika is also kosher for shchita. So it must be that I'm able to do malika two ways. And when the Mishnah says what's kosher for malika is puzzle for shchita, it's talking about when the puncture the spine is kosher for malika. Yes, there is one way, according to this, that you would be able to have something that's kosher for malika and shchita. But that's not what the Mishnah was talking about. The Mishnah was talking about in the other way, in the normal way of doing it, it's puzzle for shchita if it's done like that. Okay, so that's in it. This the Gemara says Shema Mina af machzer umasnisin b'dlo yahader. Obviously, Shema Mina, we see from this that the sons of Rabbi were referring to af machzer, that you're also able to push the pipes to the back behind the spine and puncture it with the fingernail. That's the malika. And the Mishnah is talking about when he didn't do that, and that's why the Mishnah makes a contrast between shchita and malika. That the malika would be kosher, the shchita would be not kosher. Okay. Anything to add? What do we have over here?
I just remember from years that there was an issue of when you're going to go through the spine, you're going to ding the knife.
Ah.
So you can't do shchita through a bone.
Uh-huh. You remember at the beginning of the Gemara we said that
this is related specifically to this.
That's an interesting problem. It's an interesting problem. Remember when we discussed if someone didn't check the knife after we had a discussion if it was the first neck,
all day, yeah.
the first neck, or if it was the last neck. Remember we had all of those, a very interesting Gemara. But I didn't look through all the comments. Over there the commentators would have said, they would have quoted that maybe that's also a problem with shchita. Through the...
Yeah, but there it was talking about the neck, the skin of the
Shchita
neck.
malika.
You see, let me ask you.
Later on
No.
it says he was crushing bones.
Let's say if I would check the knife afterwards, and the knife was valid, it would be kosher, right? But over here we're saying that it's not kosher because it's a treifa. But we'll see. Maybe it's more than a treifa.
Okay.
It could be an avela. Amar Rabbi Yanai. Rabbi Yanai says. Yanai was in Eretz Yisrael. Probably just very slightly after the Rabchia's sons. It's interesting how he calls them. Amar Rabbi Yanai Yekablu Hareven Es Chuvasan. The lads should accept their refutation. The word tshuva, usually we always translate as an answer. But tshuva can also mean a question. It's any sort of retort. Like shuv is to return, or like a response. So the word tshuva could be a question or an answer.
It's just that one of the twins, one of the sons married Rabbi Yanai's daughter.
Oh really? Does it say which one?
Yehuda.
Uh-huh. Yehuda was the more chashav one. I think they call him Berebi.
How did they get roivim lads?
Roivin is a term that's used by the young Kayanim. The
in
Gemara
the-
Tamid.
But in the Navi uses the word roivim for the ones who
that
the
shoot
bow and
arrows.
arrows, yeah.
I don't remember. It says Haraven Shemrim Sham in the Gemara Talmud, where it uses the young Kayanim would watch somewhere because they weren't able to sit.
Could be rather young Kohanim, like the shoot. They are very hyper. They don't have any.
Very good. Could be that's what it says. It could be you're right.
Let's ask Avram Nas.
It also says the two sons were twins. That were
Oh,
born-
that's right.
They were born 3 months apart.
That's right. That's the Gemara Nida.
Hear this? Ready? The two sons were twins. They were born 3 months apart.
Yeah. The Gemara Nida says that there were twins that were born. It was like in a surprising thing. It said, yeah, they were with us in yeshiva. Someone says they were born one came out, and 3 months later the other one came out.
Twins from a different mother.
No, same mother.
Okay. Diktani, it's in the third parak there.
We have to ask parents
What's
twins questions.
what's the
Fraternal.
what's the refutation of the sons of Rabbi? Diktani, it says in the Mishnah. Nimtza, it comes out. The Mishnah concludes. Kosher b'shchita, pasul b'malika. An area that's valid for shchita is not valid for malika, and then the reverse. Kosher b'malika, pasul b'shchita. What's kosher for malika is not kosher for shchita. So, which means the back of the neck. Now, the Gemara asks, "L'miyutimai." Why do you have to add that in? We already said everything, and then you just summarize it. The Mishnah doesn't have to summarize it. If it's summarizing it, so then it must be telling me another halacha. It must be including something, because I can summarize it on my own. I don't need the Mishnayos were being memorized, so they didn't add in anything extra. So even though it clarifies it, but if you already itemize every detail, so then you don't have to then summarize it again. You already said all the details. So my love, is it not coming to tell me? It's coming to tell me that I'm not able to put the simonim behind the oira, behind the neck. Whereas by shchita that would be good, so therefore by malika it's not good. It must be coming to teach me that, and this would be a refutation to the sons of Rabbi Yanai. And as these extra words are teaching me something, because I don't know what it's teaching me, I'm going to assume that it's teaching me exactly this din, which is going to refute the sons of Rabbi Yanai. Now, if I can tell me what else it's teaching me, then automatically then it's not telling me anything about the din of the sons of Rabbi Yanai. I'm sorry, sons of Rabbi Chia. It's not telling me anything about the sons of Rabbi Chia, about pushing the pipes behind the neck. Follow? The Mishnah says some extra words. What is it coming to tell me? So we're saying it must be, Rabbi Yanai is saying, it must be coming to tell me not something opposed to what the sons of Rabbi Chia said. Sons of Rabbi Chia said that if you push the pipes to the back and you do malika there, it's kosher. Those extra words are telling me that it's not kosher to do malika like that. So that's the refutation to the sons of Rabbi Yanai. I'm just saying that as soon as we can get those extra words to teach me anything else, we've automatically resolved the sons of Rabbi Chia's question. This question on them. Amar Rabbi Bar Bar Chana. Rabbi Bar Bar Chana says, Rabbi Bar Bar Chana is related to them because Rabbi Bar Bar Chana's father is Rabbi Bar Chana, and Chana was a brother of Chia, so he's actually his first cousin once removed. He's Rabbi Bar Bar Chana. He's helping these. Does Rabbi Steinsaltz point that out? I don't know. Okay. So Loi, he says no. It's not coming to tell me that if the pipes are pushed to the back, that you can't do malika there. No. It's coming to tell me something else. It's coming to tell me lemute shein v'tzipayrin. It's coming to tell me that you can't do shchita with a fingernail or with a tooth or a fingernail. Now, there's two statements in the Mishnah that are extra. But we only need one of them to have reason, and the other one will just be, by the way. Why? Because it's the reverse. One statement was, anything that's kosher for shechita is not kosher, is puzzle for malika. The other statement was, anything that's kosher for malika is puzzle for shechita. We're going to call one the reisha, one the seifa. The first statement, the second statement. So here what we're saying is that the second statement of something that's kosher for malika is puzzle for shechita. That's the chiddush. What do we have? Something that's kosher for shechita that's puzzle for malika? The fingernail.
Is it kosher for shechita?
It's kosher for malika.
I'm sorry,
Puzzle for
malika.
shechita. So that's what it's coming to tell me. Because our Mishnah didn't discuss that. Our Mishnah only discussed the location on the neck. So we have, when the Mishnah summarizes and says anything, anywhere that's kosher for malika is puzzle for shechita, it's coming to include the fingernail, which is not valid for shechita. Why is the fingernail not valid for shechita? Because it's mechuber. It's attached to a living being, similar to the rock that was attached to the ground. Anything that's attached is not kosher. The term shane, I don't believe that the Gemara is telling me that I could possibly use shane for the
Just bite
tooth
the
for
animal,
malika.
go right through.
No, is the Gemara suggesting here that I could use a tooth for malika? Taisus is discussing this, but I don't know if that's what he wants to say. I didn't go through it carefully.
He's talking about a shame that's connected to a person.
Yeah, a person or to an animal. In the tziparin also,
And
that's connected.
The tziparin, yeah, I understand, but the shame while the animal's alive or while the person's
No, it
alive,
has
or
to
it's
be.
already been disconnected?
No, it has
it's
to be.
live?
It has to be alive to be the problem. It has to be alive because we said afterwards that one tooth, because there's no nick. If you have two teeth, then it's
no
a
good
problem
for sure.
automatically. But if you have one tooth that's sharpened, you should be able to do shechita. The only problem is that it was attached. Okay, so the Gemara says it can't be included. It can't be including that. Why? Shein v'tziparin behed yiktani lahu. We had a Mishnah previously
said,
that told
yeah.
us. So even though this Mishnah didn't say it, but we have another Mishnah that said it. That's already. It can't be like that. Rashi brings an interesting thing. Rashi has a different way of learning it, but from the point, which he rejects. But he concludes with this, with saying that maybe what it means, Shein v'tziparin behedi ktani lahu, is talking about that it was taught in a Teres Kainim, in the Medrash on Vayikra. So Rashi says that you can't say that that's an issue. It's towards the end. If you're looking at the Rashi, it's when the lines get wide. He says, Teres Kainim. Teres Kainim is the Medrash on Vayikra. This is called the Sifra, the Sefer. That's called Teres Kainim. That's why we call Vayikra Leviticus, because it's Teres Kainim because of that. So Rashi points out that you can't say that what's taught in the Mishnah is a problem if it was already taught in the Teres Kainim, because all the time the Mishnayos re-quote things that are in Teres Kainim, and it's never a problem. It's only a problem if it was taught in the Mishnah, and then it was again taught in the Mishnah, twice in the Mishnah, that's a problem. But the Mishnayos and Teres Kainim overlap, that's not an issue. Okay, so we had it in a previous Mishnah. So we can't say that our Mishnah is including that the fingernail is eligible for malika, but it's not eligible for shechita. It's coming to exclude Melech Umevi, going back and forth. You go back and forth by shechita, but you can't go back and forth by malika. So we have a new din here that the Mishnah is coming to tell me. Anything that's valid for shechita to go back and forth is possible for malika, because malika needs to penetrate with a puncture, not with a slicing motion. Where it says, okay, you might have an answer. However, hanicha, this is good. If we say that it's actually puzzle, if you go back and forth with the fingernail. Kosher, but there's a machlokes. There's another opinion that says it's kosher. According to that opinion, what are you going to say? How could the Mishnah be telling me that what's kosher for shechita is puzzle for malika, telling me something that's actually kosher for malika? Because one opinion says that the fingernail is allowed to go back and forth by Malika. So the Gemara answers that's not a problem. Because Bnei Reb Chia, Sabri Lakamandam, Melech Mevi b'Malika Pasal. The sons of Reb Chia go with the other opinion. So therefore, the Mishnah makes sense according to them. We have the extra statement in the Mishnah. What's it coming to teach me? That Shchita, you move the knife back and forth. By Malika, the fingernail is not allowed to go back and forth. And it's also kosher if I take the pipes and push them to the back and do Malika on the back. And there's nowhere in the Mishnah that's alluding that that's possible. Okay. Amar Rav Kana. Rav Kana says, Mitzvahs Malika koitetz v'yored, v'zui mitzvasa. The mitzvah of Malika is to cut and go down, and that's the mitzvah. Okay, there's no explanation here. Savar Rav Avin l'meimar, Rav Avin understands to say what Rav Kana means is koitetz v'yored in, Melech Mevi loy. It must be that Rav Kana means is that koitetz v'yored is the only way to do it, that you have to push with pressure down through the neck and to cut the pipes on the other end. But if the person uses his fingernail to go back and forth, to slice on the neck, that's not valid.
So Malika actually has a total different method.
All the laws are different, yeah.
Yeah, because the pressure would be
possible.
right.
Amalei Rabbi Yirmiyah. Rabbi Yirmiyah says to him, Kolshkin the Melech Mevi b'Malika Kasha. It's exactly the opposite. What happened was we have psukim that Rashi quoted in this long Rashi that prove to me that Malika needs to be done with the fingernail. It says that he'll do Malika on the top of the Mizbeach. The Kayan, how's he? What do you mean on the top of the Mizbeach? Who else is supposed to be on the Mizbeach if it's not the Kayan? Who else is supposed to get there? No, it must be that that the Kayan himself, that means he can't use a utensil, he has to use his fingernail. So we have a special pasuk that tells me these halachas of where Malika is different than Shechita. But if I don't have anything that's telling me that it's different, then I would assume it's the same. So Rabbi Yirmiyah tells Rav Avin, says, why are you saying that according to Rav Kahana, that he says koitetz v'yored, that it must mean dafka? It's exactly the opposite. Of course you're allowed to go back and forth. That's how Shechita is. No one said, we don't have any pasuk that tells me that this is something that's different by Malika. The chiddush of Rav Kana is that you can even puncture, which by Shechita you can't do. So the premise is the opposite.
Malika is only by a kohen. You can't do it by zar.
Right.
Why is it that Shchita you can do kosher like for every?
I said it was
does
only
it say
because
Shchita is
somebody
kosher like
said
that
it was
for
like
all the different people?
Yeah.
But
Only in the
Malika's not.
Malika's not, right.
You can do shchita.
Exactly because of
Yeah,
this,
but
because it
shchita
says
you could do by
v'zorak
Anybody
hakayin.
could do shchita. And the
It doesn't say v'shachat
It's not
hakayin.
specific.
With the Gemara with Shmuel, the shchita k'shir bizarre. The non-kayin can do the shchita, but by Malika it says specifically that the kriva hakayin ala mizbeach. The Gemara, the Teres Kainim says, what do you think? A zar is going to go to the mizbeach? It must mean that the kayin has to use his fingernail. So maizui mitzvasa. So what does it mean? This is the mitzvah. It sounds like that you only have one option. That means to cut in the way of puncturing with pressure. Ema afzui mitzvasa. Say it's even. This is also the mitzvah. You even fulfill the mitzvah if you do it like that. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah, Amar Shmuel. Rabbi Yirmiyah says in the name of Shmuel, Kala kosher b'shchita, anything that's kosher for shchita, kenegdai ba'oiref kosher b'malika. What would be done the same way on the neck, that would be kosher for malika. Now he's not talking about the location because that we already said. is talking about
He
the
is
location. He is
talking
talking
about
about the location.
the
He has to be
opposite
talking about the location. Thank you. Okay, so the Gemara is medayik. It says he only said one way. He didn't say the reverse. He only said anything that's valid for shechita on the front of the neck. That location is valid for malika on the back of the neck. Ha pasal b'shchita, possible malika. But what would be not valid for shechita, which would be out of the location, which that was a big discussion we had yesterday. If through the upper ring, through those thyroid cartilage and all of that. So, if that's possible by shechita, then that would be possible for malika. Lamuti mai, what's that coming to exclude? The Gemara says no. It's telling me, Eily malamuti ikar simanim. Maybe it's coming to tell me that by shechita, one of the 5 laws of shechita is that I can't pull out the one of the pipes. I can't dislocate one of the pipes and still cut it. That's the way the Bahag, the Tosfos quotes the halachas gedolos that learns it like that. That ikar means that the pipe is dislocated. It doesn't become a treifa with the pipe being dislocated, and then you shecht it. The Gemara says, so that would be that it's puzzle for shechita. That would also be puzzle for malika. But Tani Rami Bar Yecheskel einikir simanim ba'if. But Rami Bar Yecheskel says that this is never a problem by a bird. Even for shechita, it's valid. So it's not. Sometimes we ask this question. We say you can't say this because by malika we have someone that says that it's valid. Here we're saying you can't say this in the first place because this is valid. If we're talking about a bird, this is valid by even shechita. It's valid. So the whole premise doesn't begin. Amar Rav Papa says, what was the statement of Shmuel that says that anything that's kosher for shechita is kosher for malika, anything on the back of the neck, and anything that which we understand is anything that's puzzle would be puzzle. L'mu'utei roishay. It's coming to tell me the location. That the location for the for shechita is by the neck. It can't be at the head. If it's too high, then if you go to the back of the neck, it's going to be too high. Gemara says, Reishay Pshita. That's what Shmuel is telling me. For that I have a pasuk. It says, that's obvious. It says, towards the back of the head, not the actual head. So he says, my Reishay. What does it mean when he said that it shouldn't be on the head? Rav Papa, he meant Shipa Reishay. Means when it's not the actual back of the head, when the back of the head begins to incline down, to slant down, so over there, that is puzzle. Kegoin, for example, Kegoin did not cut mishipa reishay. He sticks his nail in through the incline at the back of the head, the higrim, and he goes on a slant, va'azal adamata tatoi, until he reaches to the bottom, to the proper location. We had a big discussion about this yesterday with shechita. If you go from the wrong location to the right location to the wrong location, if you go back and forth. So now we're saying that it's going to be possible for malika as well. Ukaderavhuna maravasi. Damaravhuna maravasi. Ravhuna, like Ravhuna said the name of Ravasi. Higrim shlish. V'shachat shlish. V'shachat shnei shlish. Psula. If someone, the first part of the shechita was done in the wrong location, and then he went to the correct location, and he finished off the shechita, Rav Huna's opinion was that was not valid, because at the time when the critical point of the shechita took place, no.
I thought
Huna
both
says
locations were okay.
No.
He just shifted like latitudes. He was on one cartilage and then he continued on another one. But technically, if he continued on the first one, it would have been kosher too.
Right. That would have been okay. We said over there, we said the case that was not okay was if he did in the totally wrong location, and then he came back into the right location, or or the opposite, or he did both, wavy. So here, Rav Huna says in the name of Ravasi that Higrim Shlish, V'shachat Shnei Shlish, because at the time when the soul left, you didn't have the majority shchita. The majority of it wasn't done with shchita. The critical point didn't have the majority of shchita. Okay. So we would say the same thing by Malika, that if you start in the wrong location, which means up at the incline on the slant of the back of the head, and down into the right location, that's not going to be valid. Amalei Ravacha Breder Ravala Ravashi. Ravacha, the son of Rava, says to Ravashi, Hadatani Rami Bar Yecheskel Einek Yisuman Ba'oif. We mentioned before that the law of dislocating one of the pipes by the bird, it doesn't apply. It doesn't apply to the bird. So Ravacha, the son of Rava, says to Ravashi, this statement of Rami Bar Yecheskel, that one of the 5 laws of Shechita doesn't apply to the bird, this only goes according to the opinion that says that you don't have to shecht birds according to the biblical law. It's only rabbinic law. It's a machlokes. If birds need shechita from the Torah law or only rabbinic law. And we're going to learn about it later, but the Gemara mentions it here. So according to that opinion, where you don't need shechita, not malika, shechita, the birds need to be shechted. Rabbinically, of course, they do. But there's a question if it's biblical law. Now, it doesn't say in the Torah at all, the shechita. It's all halacha l'meshem Sinai. But that's what we mean. Is it halacha l'meshem Sinai or is it a rabbinic law? Now, if I say that one of the laws of shechita doesn't apply to a bird, then that would make sense to say, why? Because a bird doesn't have the biblical laws of shechita. So that's why this law doesn't apply. But if we say on the top of the page, that birds are required to be slaughtered according to the Torah, which means halacha l'meshem Sinai, so yesh ikar, then there is the same laws apply of uprooting, of dislocating the pipe. That would apply to a bird as well. So Rami Bar Yecheskel's halacha is only according to one opinion that says that shechting a bird is only rabbinic. Amalei, Ravashi says to Ravacha Breder Rava, making a big mistake.